Hi, I'm Jessica Montgomery and welcome to Buckingham News. Autism affects some 700,000 people in the UK. It is a lifelong condition that affects a person's social and communication capacity. People with autism find their sensory world unusual and occasionally anxiety-provoking. The Puzzle Centre in Buckingham is a lifeline for children with autism and their parents. It recently garnered praise from Speaker of the House, John Bercow. Jala Kader went to see the innovative ways the centre helps the youngest people on the autism spectrum.
Here at Puzzle, the emphasis on early intervention has become one of the leading methods in transforming the lives of autistic children in Britain.
Children between the ages of 2 and 5 are taught in small groups that help develop their communication skills and social understanding.
So we have the specialist nursery here, and at the moment we've got 23 on roll coming to the specialist nursery. That's about as many as we can manage. The children come anything from 2 sessions a week up to 6 sessions a week.
By offering a consistent schedule that the children are comfortable with, the specialists are able to reinforce appropriate behaviours that will last into adulthood. The centre offers extensive support for parents, including 8 training workshops per year, home visits, and regular parental consultations. We asked a mother, who preferred to remain unnamed, how valuable the centre was in helping her child.
Absolutely fantastic. So much support and guidance and just an amazing amount of expertise in all different areas. They've been so good.
There have been recent research advances that could make prenatal autism screening available in the near future. However, this raises an ethical point.
Any kind of prenatal screening might be an indicator that somehow we wanted to sort of get rid of autism somehow, or screen out children potentially with that. But in terms of help, if that leads to identifying and then helping children and families at an earlier stage, then I see that as being a good thing.
The work done at Puzzle is already transforming the lives of these children, and as we discover more about autism, the future seems as bright for these youngsters as for anyone else. Jala Kader reporting for Buckingham News.
This Thursday saw the announcement of the Student Union presidential nominations. Unlike the previous uncontested election term, there are 3 candidates hoping to battle it out. Campaigning can now commence and, with hustings scheduled for the 19th of May and the elections on the 21st, a fierce competition is guaranteed. Yuka Toda went to the SU to introduce us to some of the candidates.
This is an opportunity not to be missed. Whether you are a candidate or simply a voter, you have the power to make a difference here at the University of Buckingham. So, when making this decision, choose carefully. This election seems somewhat different from the past 2, simply the reason being that there will be hustings.
Candidates are Robert Tyler, Mohamed Mahbub, Ojulaope from Igbo.
Ojulape from Igbo said he would meet us and then declined to turn up.
We caught up with other candidates and asked them why they were standing.
I'm standing for Student Union President because I believe I can make the Student Union more democratic and accountable to the students.
I'm standing for President and Executive because I feel it's time to give something back to the university. It's my last semester and I've seen all the previous committees go on about it, and they've done good, but I just want to build up on it.
What's the one thing you really want to change?
I'd like to change, to create transparency within the budget so that students spend money where they would like it to be spent. For example, on better sports facilities.
I'd like to be more, for the President and for the Executives both, to be more accessible to the students. That's the main thing that I'd like to change.
Damian Wilson is the outgoing president. He more than anyone knows the qualities needed for the post.
The individual will have to try to be as fair as possible. You can't take sides. You have to try and remain neutral, and by that I mean you have to have a heart for the students and you have to have a heart for the job.
So let the campaign begin. This is Yuka Toda for Buckingham News.
We love to imagine ourselves on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise taking her to warp speed, or in the TARDIS going through a time vortex. But talk of light years, quasars and interplanetary alignments tend to baffle and confuse us. There's hope for us yet. Astronomy is becoming increasingly popular and accessible, allowing more and more of us to probe the universe millions of miles above our heads. Charlie Williams went to find out more.
If you paid attention to the night sky recently, you might have seen, well, rain and cloud. But if you were lucky enough to enjoy a clear view, you might have glimpsed some interesting events.
These included a total lunar eclipse, the Lyriad meteor shower, and the Mars opposition, where the red planet is in a straight line with the Sun and Earth.
I think more and more people are becoming interested in astronomy. There was a programme only the other night about the new giant telescopes and new types of telescopes which are being developed. We're in an era where we're able to see things that literally the human race has never been able to see before. And couple that with the big drive to popularise science means that people are actually beginning to understand some of the things that are really fundamental in astronomy and take them to heart and start to understand that it's really a fascinating science.
Buying your own astronomy equipment is unexpectedly simple, and there are only a few things you should keep in mind beforehand.
Well, the first thing is you just need your naked eyes. You'd be surprised actually when you just look up at the sky what you can see. Then the next sort of level is a really good pair of astronomical binoculars. You'd be surprised what you can make out with a pair of binoculars and what you can see. And then moving on a little bit more seriously is a telescope. Some of them, doesn't have to be the biggest telescope. Anything that sort of collects light, to be able to see things that are faint and a bit further away, will do it. So, you can look to a starter-scope from under £100. We sell anything from £50 all the way up. So it doesn't necessarily need to be an expensive hobby to be able to see some things in the sky.
So whether you're just curious or already a committed enthusiast, there's no reason why you too shouldn't be out making the most of the night sky. Whatever the weather. This is Charlie Williams for Buckingham News.
In other news, on Saturday, the 3rd of May, Amnesty International swung us back in time with a 1940s-themed tea party, appropriately called Amnesty. Participants danced along to a live swing band and enjoyed some delicious baked treats. There was a best dress competition, and the winner of the raffle donated 3/4 of the prize money back to Amnesty. Spring has arrived, and even though the weather is not at its highest peak, May 1st brought local schoolchildren together to celebrate the start of the new season with the traditional Maypole dance. The Mayor of Buckingham made an appearance along with a large crowd of people who came together to watch the local schoolchildren begin the festivity of the start of the season. A new tea room has opened on West Street in Buckingham with a new style of afternoon tea. While serving the traditional tea and scones, the new shop hopes to wow its customers with their decor and homemade cupcakes.
We offer lots of homemade yummy cake. We do only loose tea, and I'm just going through the process of getting my licence so we can do champagne high tea.
They've toured extensively with the Police frontman Sting, topped the US classical chart, and their work has been Grammy nominated twice. Last Friday evening, the University of Buckingham's Ensemble in Residence, Stile Antico, gave a special performance at the Radcliffe Centre. James Vassiner went to see the show.
Stile Antico is an ensemble of British singers, now established as one of the most exciting new voices in its fields. Much in demand, the group regularly tours North America and Europe, and last week came to Buckingham. I managed to get a sneak peek of the evening's performance as they rehearsed. The real magic, however, began once voices were warmed up, clothes were spruced up, and they started what was to be a stunning performance. Stile Antico literally means ancient style, and this genre of music has been associated with composers of the Baroque movement. The choir believe this style should still be listened to today.
Well, it's repertoire that still deserves to be heard. It's really beautiful music. It's very rich musical heritage that we really want to keep sharing with people.
The audience in Buckingham was certainly impressed by the performance. But is this the best job in the world?
It's very good. Obviously it comes with travelling and warm audiences and lots of varied repertoire. So probably one of the best jobs out there, yeah.
The group's passion came to light during the climax of their recital, when their astounding sound almost brought the house down. This is James Vazina for Buckingham News.
Now over to sports with Leandra Behrens.
Thank you, Jess. After last week's 2-2 draw at home to Cheltenham District, the University of Buckingham's football team were hoping to bounce back over the weekend with a much-needed victory away to Pottersbury Reserves, who they lost to in their first fixture of this season. Did they have any luck this week? Kevin Malundwa travelled with the team to Pottersbury to find out.
The University of Buckingham, who were looking to continue their recent good form, were out for revenge against Pottersbury Reserves, who they lost to on the opening day of the season, and were looking to go 18 games unbeaten in the league. Buckingham were out to punish the hosts and nearly did when Lardy Labode was put through on goal, only for the crossbar to deny him a wonderful goal on the 7th minute. Pottersbury soaked up the early pressure and replied with a world-class finish from well outside the box to go 1-0 up in the 11th minute. Buckingham refused to buckle under pressure and equalised when Gabriel Fahia latched onto George Swell's splendid through ball on the 22nd minute. Disaster struck on the 24th minute when Buckingham were reduced to 10 men due to an injury and were lacking substitutes. Pottersbury then took advantage of their extra man and went ahead on the 22nd minute to make it 2-1 with a header. The game then became a little bit more open, with both teams creating chances and both keepers being kept on their toes by making life a little bit more harder for them. Once the second half got underway, Pottersbury took advantage of their extra player and began to pile on the pressure on Buckingham's defence, eventually scoring in the 54th minute to make it 3-1 to the hosts. Buckingham then went into freefall and conceded a fourth in the 73rd minute. Despite the game clearly disappearing from them, Buckingham made a go of it and tried to score, but were unable to take their chances. Pottersbury once again made Buckingham pay for their lacklustre performance with yet another goal, this time a deflection on the 85th minute. Pottersbury nearly added a sixth goal, but the shot went over the bar. Buckingham then conceded a sixth goal with 3 minutes to go and was sent home packing. This is Kevin Malindwa, Buckingham News.
With the sports program at the university improving term by term, students have the opportunity to take part in a number of sporting activities. One of the most popular sports, which continue to grow in membership by each passing term, is netball. Last week, the team took part in an exhibition match against Netball United Spartan. Ogiri Omaha has the story.
I am here at Buckingham School Sport Hall, where the Buckingham netball team has another friendly game against Netball United Spartans. The university's netball team were taking part in an exhibition game, which they were hoping would help improve the team's competitive skills and give them an idea on how they have progressed. The team has showcased improved passing skills, positional awareness, shooting accuracy and defensive abilities throughout the game in what was a good opportunity for the girls to evaluate their improvement against strong opposition. In order for them to improve on their performance, the coach was on hand to give feedback to the girls. Team captain Kate Berman and team coach Tina Irwin gave us some feedback. In comparison to the last friendly game, do you think there's an improvement with your team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're all sort of gelling together now, a lot better. We've got different combinations that are starting to work out. So, and lots of the players are improving on their little skill sets that they needed to improve on.
After the game today, did you achieve your objectives?
Yeah, I think we did achieve most of them. We got a few more combinations in, and we changed it according to the skills that we've got. I think we've found certain combinations and where players play better.
Despite losing the second friendly game, the Buckingham netball team has shown some improvement. Hopefully, they'll be ready and more competitive next game. This is Ogiri Omoha, Buckingham News.
That was it for sports this week. Now back to the studio.
Never mind the weather, the driving on the left and everyone calling you love. There are many more things that might overwhelm international students studying in the UK. Now settle down for your 14th cup of tea while Leonie Pulch gives you the top 5 Brit hits.
The University of Buckingham, with its 50% of international students, knows something about this. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's the top 5 British things that knock out international students.
Number 5. The separated tap situation. In the UK, you are most likely to find one tap for hot and one tap for cold water, making it impossible to wash your hands without freezing or burning yourself. Number 4. The crisp chips dilemma. It's almost impossible not to argue with the Brit about what's the right name for that kind of chips. I mean fries, crisps, whatever. Number 3. The pub culture. Forget about drinking just at night. Here you start drinking at 3 p.m. and having half a liter of ale is as normal as having coffee for an Italian. Number 2. The obsession with tea. Cuppas everywhere. In the UK, you'll be literally drowning in tea as much as in beer.
People over here are obsessed with fish and chips. Twinnings.
The most overwhelming thing about Britain is fish and chips.
The most overwhelming thing for me in the UK is the food. For example, the fish and chips.
And number 1 for the students of Buckingham, the traditional fish and chips. This is Leonie Polish, Buckingham News.
May the 4th was Star Wars Day. So, from a studio far, far away, watching Buckingham News we thank you for. Is that all right?